Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, August 9th, 2022. I am Solid Blue Sister, and this is My Turn to Talk. Welcome, Nikki. Welcome. Hey, Frankie. Welcome. I hope everyone is doing well today. Hey, Power Girl. You guys are number 1, 2, and 3 today. Welcome. And to anyone joining us over on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, welcome. I think this is a good place to stop the music, and everyone else will come in as they usually do. So, all right. So, welcome, everyone. So today I wanted to talk about people who make excuses. We've all done it. Some of us may do it more than others, but we have all done it. But at what point, and my topic, stop making excuses, you're the only one stopping you, is a comment or quote from Issa Rae. And if anyone doesn't know who Issa Rae is, she is an actress and a writer. So why do people make excuses and not do anything? And I apologize. My windows are closed, but if you guys hear that noise, my neighbor's getting a tree cut down. So I apologize if you all can hear that. Hey, Brina, welcome. But why do some people just is excuse after excuse after excuse, and they don't do anything? And my question is, don't people get tired of other people doing while they do nothing? So it's like, if you know that your neighbor is constantly, or your friend or your coworker, whatever, if they are constantly, you know um, uh, you know they say that they're going to do this, or they say they're going to do this, or they're going to try to start that business, or they have something on their bucket list and they're going to do it, and they do it, and you're still the one saying, oh, well, I can't do this because of this, I can't do this because of this. Do you think people get tired of seeing other people doing and they're not doing anything? I mean, at what point do you think that, what would motivate someone to stop making an excuse for something? And people who make excuses, do they eventually start blaming others because they didn't succeed in something? Or, that person did this and you didn't, and you'll say, well, the only reason why they were able to do it was because, you know, the boss liked them better, or, they were able to do this, or they were able, to do that. I mean, do you think that people who consistently make excuses um, end up blaming other people for why they can't do something? And Brina says, yes, it's frustrating when someone makes more excuses than effort. Okay, so why do you think you have that segment of people that do so? I mean, why is it that segment of people, for whatever reason, um, they can't ever I guess I want to use the word get motivated. Welcome. Is it Bodoa Alice? I hope I pronounced your name correctly, and I apologize if I didn't. So, what would make people, you know, motivate themselves to stop doing the excuses? If you always wanted to write that book, you may not have to start off with a 200-page novel, but write five pages. You know, those 5 pages will turn into 10. Pretty soon you will have that novel or that, you know, cookbook or whatever. Brina says, I think some people are just born with more drive naturally. Interesting. Okay, might have to do with upbringing. So do you think it? Do you think that some people are just born with more drive? Do you think that going to the whole DNA thing? Do you think that some people have it in their DNA that they just have more drive while other people don't? And then Rena says it might have something to do with upbringing. Okay. All right. So let me ask this. I'm going to go into class. And when I say class, I'm going to talk about financial class. Do you think people who are more financially stable are more motivated to do something as opposed to someone that isn't? Do you think that because of someone's financial status, or even I'll say social status, has something to do with someone who will make an excuse as opposed to someone who is a go getter and who will follow through? I mean, does that make sense? And Brina says, no, I think people that were born in some money sometimes are more lax, not all the time. Okay. All right. So then let me ask this. I'm going to use the whole COVID thing, 2021. You had a lot of people who, for whatever reason, they were either laid off or they just totally lost their job, whatever. But and I'm not talking about people who already had a business. I'm talking about people who were working for someone else. And you saw a lot of people who reinvented themselves, and um, they ended up, starting a business in their basement, in their garage. I mean, there were a lot of businesses that popped up. Was it the motivation of losing a job that made them do it? Or was this now that they had the time, now that they were not working, now that they were not going to a 9 to 5, that they had the time to finally focus on this idea that they've always had? So therefore, they were able to do it. And if that wasn't the reason, why didn't they do it, you know, 10 years ago or five years ago? I mean, does it take a catastrophic event sometimes to, for other people to uh, get motivated? Welcome, the only crazy lady. Welcome. And Brina says half motivation and half realization that your job does not care about you. Um, they finally realized they that we're all replaceable. Okay, all right. And even with podcasting, podcasting is something I wanted to do since 2018. It wasn't until the pandemic, because I never had time, that I finally made time to do it, because there were just so many issues out there to talk about. I finally, said, let me do it. But I did push it back, and I use the excuse that I was busy, you know, but sometimes is it a matter of just making time, or are you really that busy that you can't do something? I mean, I know some people are, and I know people are involved in a lot of things, but I'm talking about the people who are always the excuses, excuses. Rena, thank you, because enjoy it. I enjoy it so much, which you all know. So, um, I mean, see, I think your company has a lot to do with it too. Having a support system is crucial. Some people can be discouraging. Okay, so Brina, okay, so I think a support system is crucial. But what about those people? And we hear the stories of people who were homeless, and they end up building these businesses, that do really well, or children, that were homeless or lived in a shelter, and they had to fend for themselves. They put themselves through high school. They went on to get scholarships to go to college, and they graduate, and they're in school. They're able, even through the circumstances that they have, they manage to get straight A's, whatever, and do better than their classmates who live in a house, have a parent or parents there to help them. They have that support system, but these other people don't. But they still manage to succeed. So, is the support system really crucial, or does it just help? Hurry up and get off the pot, crazy lady says, because they wanted to better themselves. Yes. Hey, Shorty. Hey, hey, hey. Okay, and it helps. Crazy lady says motivation of oneself. So is it? So do you think that you're? Do you think that you would find personal satisfaction of being motivated by oneself as opposed to being motivated by your family or friends? What do you think would give you the most satisfaction, that when you saw everything, come full circle, and that this is a success, or this really works, or I finally, walked across that stage and got that piece of paper, or, you know, um, you know, I finally, did this or whatever. Do you think that you find more satisfaction in the fact of saying that you did it mostly on your own, or that other people were there to help and support you? I don't think that it matters as long as you follow through. Oh, okay, Brina. Okay. All right. All right. So, once again, do you think that the person who has more adversity, who is actually the go getter and who is actually doing something, can motivate the person who has resources available to them, be it financial, mental, social? Do you think that that person who is constantly saying or giving an excuse for everything, um, that they can be motivated by the person that does have that get up and go? And the crazy lady says, well, it's always nice to have support and backup. Okay. Let's see. Frankie wants to call in. Okay, hold on, Frankie. I miss you. Can you try that again? Okay. Let's see. But Crazy Lady wants to come in, and Crazy Lady says, "Well, it's always nice to have support and backup, but it still always comes down to your actions." And but Bodo Allen says, "I'm very discouraged, but you're really motivated." Oh, thank you. And this is your first time here, so thank you so much. Okay, Frankie, you're saying great show topic. Is that what you wanted to say, or if you have something else that you wanted to say? Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. Crazy lady, you have the mic. Okay, you are very faint, very faint. This is one of those pod bean things again. You want to go out and try to come back in and see what happens. I can hear you. You're still low. Okay, crazy lady will come back in. Okay, so okay, we got her again.
Testing 1, 2.
Oh, much better, much better.
Okay, wait.
Okay, you were much better, and now you just I hear something, but you came in loud and clear when you did the testing. So I'm not sure what you did. Okay, so while I hear you, but I don't know what you just said. Hey, Handy J, when you did the testing, whatever you did, crazy, you came in really loud. You came in loud and clear. Welcome, Grit. Okay, I do want to make a comment because we do have some new people in the chat, and I just wanted to make a comment because someone asked me once why I didn't uh, why I didn't let Frankie talk, and Frankie is a mute, and sometimes when she goes up on the panel, I will read, or maybe somebody else will read the comment that she says. But she's on the panel, so she feels that she's part of the show. So anyone, that's the reason why I did that, because I've had a couple of shows when people said that I missed, or I skipped over Frankie, and that is not what I'm doing. Okay, crazy. I hear you. I hear something, but I cannot tell what you are saying. So I'm going to keep going. And if your mic comes back, just pop on and say, can you hear? Can you hear me? Okay. So guys, what I would like to know is, do you guys think that people who give excuses for everything are people who procrastinate over a lot of things? Are those the procrastinators, the ones that give an excuse for everything? Are those usually the ones that procrastinate? Because to me, if you procrastinate, you're giving yourself an excuse for not doing something. You're giving yourself an excuse for you need to wash your clothes, but you're giving yourself an excuse for not doing it. If that makes sense. I think it does. Okay. And Hanny J says some yes. Okay. Um, and let's see. And Bodawa Alice, I'm sorry you are feeling down. And if you want to share with us if there's anything that we can do to help you, to lift your spirits, I will try. And I'm sure other people in the chat will try to do so also. Welcome, Juju. Brian says, "Yep, some people always have an excuse or blame others." Okay, so I'm about to tie all this up. So if you're blaming someone for something that you did not do, are you also blaming someone if you're procrastinating and something doesn't get done? So once again, you're blaming someone, and the excuse is the person that you're blaming. I guarantee you guys that sentence did make sense.
But
Oh,
I perfectly understood it though. Like
okay,
totally.
crazy. Yes, yes. Okay, go
And yeah,
on.
that's still using, like so and so, whatever. It's still an excuse. And you allowed whatever, to interfere with whatever you said you were going to do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, do you think that some people just get tired of watching other people move forward, and they're consistently stuck in this time warp of
Yeah.
excuses?
Yeah.
So
I'm sure
okay,
there's
so
some that
if
are
I'm
there.
okay, so if I'm the person who's constantly saying, "Oh, crazy lady, I can't do this because of this, and you can't do this because of this," blah blah blah. Those people to me turn into people that complain. So what would you have to do to motivate someone, or what would have to give someone a motivator to stop giving an excuse and actually doing something?
I have friends like that. They're like, well, and cry about whatever. Um, I always say they always know where I stand. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a very blunt person, and if you complain about something and then you don't do anything to change that circumstance or whatever, then you're just being a whiner, because obviously you accept it. You know what I mean? Because you can't make something out of nothing. You have to put some kind of effort into it. Things don't just like drop out of the sky and go, plop, here you go.
Okay. Let's see. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I get everybody here. Okay, so Grid says, I blame I blame the current weather for not cutting my grass. Okay, Grid, you have snow. You have snow. Okay, but are you blaming okay, but are you shoveling your snow? You may not be cutting your grass, but are you shoveling snow? Brina says negative people will always find something to complain about. Okay, and Frankie says ignore them. Okay, so I'm going to throw this to Crazy since she's on the panel, but for everyone else, what Frankie says to ignore them. So if you consistently ignore these people, will they be motivated to do what they are giving themselves an excuse to do, or will they just move to the next person and start telling the next person everything they've been telling you?
I don't know. Ignoring my husband seems to get the result that I need done. So I'm ignoring, he already knows what he ain't done. So, but that's the only place that it's overworked at was like with that. They just got
Okay,
pretty much go and whine somewhere else.
okay. So do you think that I I hate to use this word, but this is the only word that I can come up with. But first, I'm gonna say grit. Okay, even though I lived in Southern California, I grew up in the Midwest, and I'm sorry, you gotta shovel snow. Okay, You gotta shovel snow. All right. So, would you say that people who give, and I'm going to get some pushback on this, maybe I will, maybe I won't, people who consistently give an excuse for not doing something, would you consider them a loser? And is that being too harsh for me to ask that? Not a loser, just unmotivated. Okay.
Yeah, depending
Okay.
on what they're, blowing off,
All right. So we have two words here. We have unmotivated and we have lazy. Okay. So crazy. Again, I'm coming to you because you're on the panel, and for everybody else, and you guys can answer this. What do you consider a loser?
Someone that has no job, has no will to get said job, and smooches off of like everybody around them for anything they can get until they outstayed their welcome and stuff, and then they move on. That's a loser.
Okay. Now, Henry J says there's many reasons people may do these things, but I'm going to ask, what is being unmotivated? What's the difference between unmotivated and being lazy? I mean, lazy, loser, unmotivated. I mean, what's the difference?
Um, well, unmotivated means that you have no desire to move forward, to better your surroundings or yourself or anything. It's just like, yeah, fuck it. Excuse my
Okay,
language, but
okay, so crazy is that a loser?
well, with that kind of attitude, I'm sorry. I know a lot of lives.
I'm just asking. I am playing both sides here. You
But
know I
seriously,
always do it. So
like if you okay, if you're homeless, don't have a job, and you're just like pretty much couch surfing from person to person, have no plan, have no desire, even you know that life is okay. Yeah, you're a loser. You have nothing to offer anybody, really. And if
okay.
you're, you know what I mean? Like if you stay with someone, but you help out like on their property or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
like a fair day's work for a fair day's wage, type of thing,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
that's different. But when
Yes,
they
it
don't
is.
do anything, yeah, they're lazy and unmotivated, and you're a loser. Put the fuck on. That's what I
Okay.
say.
Okay. All right. So Hanny J says, or depressed. So if someone is unmotivated, and they're giving an excuse for something, do is that depression? How do you get someone out of
It
their
can be.
depression to be
It can
motivated?
be.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. Different things work for different people, but I know from experience, sometimes you just got to keep pushing them, especially if you definitely know that they're just like depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's all you can do is just keep motivate, trying to get them to self motivate and try to, get them out of the space that they're in, which is a lot of times hard to do, you know.
Okay. And Brennan says anyone who doesn't care take care of their responsibilities. And I'm assuming, Brennan, you were referring to when I said what is a loser. Henny J says when you're depressed, you may not be motivated or may not take care of your responsibilities. And Brennan says that sounds like my cousin right now, couch surfing. Thank you everyone for liking the show. Juju agrees with both Hanny J and Brina. Um, Go see a life coach, Grid says. And Hanny J says the problem is they usually need professional help or medication. Okay, so Grid says life coach. Hanny J says professional help or medication. Don't you guys think that's an extreme measure for someone who is unmotivated, and again, I'm coming back to someone who just consistently gives an excuse for everything. So at what point do you see that someone's their excuse turns into something more? Like that you do need to go see that life coach, or you do need to, you know, take meds, whatever. So I guess what I'm asking is someone who is consistently giving an excuse, someone who is has an underlying that they are depressed, or if this person has been like this their entire life, ever since they were 10, they had an excuse for not doing something. Their mother, or father told them to go cut the grass or go take out the garbage, when they were young, and they had an excuse for everything. And as they got older, they just never got out of that habit. Okay, Handy J says, I would say if they were always that way, it isn't depression. Okay, but you say necessarily. And Bodoa Alice says, at times when we're depressed, you get confused about everything in life. So I really need more coaching and education. Okay. All right. So, guys, have any of you ever had or given an excuse for something that you absolutely knew that you should have done, and you just didn't do it just because you just didn't feel like doing it? Like you knew you should have done this, and you just didn't feel like it. And I'm not saying something like, um, you know, you should have washed your clothes, or, you knew you were going to work the next day and you didn't have any gas, and you knew you should probably go fill up, that evening, because if you go in the morning, there's going to be more cars there, and you're going to be rushing. But just something that you knew that you should have done, and you gave an excuse. Okay, right. Okay, you procrastinate all the time. Okay, so Brittany, can I say that your procrastination means that you're not motivated, or were you lazy? So, and again, I say, is procrastinating the same as making an excuse? Sometimes lazy. Okay, all right. So, at what point then? Do you finally walk away from the person who is making excuse after excuse after excuse? Mr. B, great times. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's been a minute. At what point do you walk away?
See, sometimes like you just, that person's in your life and you just can't walk away. I just know not to rely on that person, straight up.
Can that cause problems between you and that person?
I don't know how. I mean, if they ask why aren't you whatever, I'll tell them straight out because I can't depend on you. I
Okay,
mean,
that's what I'm saying. You could that ruin a relationship if someone will get upset. It's like, well, damn, you're supposed to be my friend.
well, I'll tell them why I am being your friend. I'm just being honest, and
Okay,
you're just
okay.
being,
No, I mean, no, I totally
that's
get
it.
it, but I totally get it. But there are some people who they don't want to hear it. Let's put it like that. I
Oh
get
well,
it, and they may get it, but they may not want to hear it.
well then they shouldn't have like whatever asked me or whatever, you
Okay,
know.
no, I mean, crazy. I am with you 100%. I am with you 100%. Um, Mr. B, I'm coming to you in 1 second. Brina says, anytime someone drains my energy, I can't deal with them. Brina, I totally understand. And Grit says, I guess the point when they start bringing you down or causing you problems. Okay, all right. Mr. B, welcome, welcome.
Hello. I had a very interesting lunch today.
Oh, okay. Would you like to share?
Yes, I would. Thank you for asking.
Okay. So it is show and tell now. Mr. B is in front of the class, everyone. Okay, students, go ahead. Mr. B.
Uh, all right, I came from home for my lunch break, which is a normal thing. Right, checking on the kiddos, and then on my way back to work, a few seconds I got in the car, I heard 5 gunshots.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, well, make a long story short, uh, somebody got shot. And I went to next door neighbors and I was asking them to call 911. And I asked his son to grab a towel. And then I put pressure on the guy who got shot. He got shot in the chest and other spots, but I was more concerned about the chest because every time my heart beat, blood was pumping out. So I put pressure on his chest and then we was talking to him, trying to give him, let him know he's going to be okay and just keep on talking. So yeah, some scary stuff. Last thing I heard, he made it to ICU. So hopefully he'll make it.
So was this a shooting on your block?
It was 2 houses down.
So did you know the person, or this was just
I
a friend of the
I've
family
seen
of?
him. No, I've seen him here and there, but
But he
no.
lived in the
2 houses
house.
down. Yeah, 2 houses down. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Wow. Are you okay in terms of
Oh
your mental
well,
state, or are you? I
yeah,
mean,
I'm all right. I just can't stop thinking about. I keep my picture. His blood is coming out of his chest like that, and just shook it up a little bit.
okay,
Trying to
that's
get over it, but yeah,
okay. Yeah, that's why I'm asking. Okay,
yeah.
so I take it you've never seen anything like that before, like
No,
up
all my
close.
trainings of being when I was a nurse assistant and all the working with kids, you always got to take first aid, and I was go overboard with it all these decades, and I was able to use it finally.
Okay, all right,
I was looking for someone to choke, and I was ready for that. Somebody, I'm on my way, let me help you, but not this. I'm like, oh, okay.
okay, all
Yeah,
right,
so it was a venturous day, but
all right. Well, Brina says to you, Mr. B, make sure you take care of you.
uh,
And good
thanks.
job on not panicking and doing, keeping a level head and doing what you had to do.
Oh, thank you. And we found out he just moved out, but what happened was his ex girlfriend got a new boyfriend. The boyfriend got mad and shot the old boyfriend. So yeah, crazy.
That's messed up. That's
That
crazy, and
is.
it's messed up.
Yeah.
So well,
Yeah. So I just want to say, it's okay to be angry, but you got to keep it in check, folks. You got to be careful,
Yep.
and that's
Anything you
all.
do after you lose your temper is wrong.
I'm sorry. What did you say? Crazy after you do what?
My father used to tell us anything you do after you lose your temper is wrong because you've lost your temper, you've lost your ability to think correctly and maintain yourself.
Okay. Okay. No, D. You came in at a point where Mr. B was sharing what went on uh, in his day or this afternoon during his lunch break. So yeah, and Mr. B Juju says sending abundance of prayers for the kid and you. Well, welcome Das and welcome Ba. Okay, so I'm trying to. I'm thinking about what he said, but I'm trying to get back on topic. And he is no longer on the panel, Juju, for you to ask that about the gunshots. Okay, so um, crazy lady, you said something. You or Brina said something that I wanted to tie in about people who procrastinate. Um, okay, so okay. I remember what I was saying. Okay, so when I ask you, can that ruin a relationship? Do you think that people understand that they're consistently making an excuse after an excuse after an excuse, and after a while, that alone could ruin a relationship?
Well, I mean, I possibly could. I mean, yeah, I mean, they gotta realize, I mean, I don't know. I don't live in their head. You would think that they would realize it, You would
I
hope.
mean, but that's but okay. So again, from this quote, you're the only one stopping you. Is that true? That when you make an excuse that you're the only one stopping you? I mean, is anyone else stopping you from doing something that you really want to do? Is someone stopping you if you don't start that business? Is someone stopping you? If you don't write that novel or whatever? Is someone stopping you because you know you didn't finish that project or whatever you were working on? So is that true? The only one stopping you is you.
Yeah, if it's something that you really desire and really, really want, you're the only person that's stopping yourself.
So, okay, so um, that is an interesting topic. Thank you, Bob. I'll behave. We shall see. So if someone, and I'm not talking about, you really want to drive but you can't because you don't have a license, and you have to get a license. I'm not talking about something like that, but do people have the ability to, I guess, overcome not doing what they're not doing? Do they even want to? Do those people want to, or do those people always want to consistently give an excuse for not doing something?
I don't know. It's like Luke King says, we are our worst enemies, you know, and I mean, because there's been things that I've wanted that, uh, that if I really wanted, I went out and I got it, or at least attempted to get it, and then maybe realized, well, maybe that dream was out of my, scope of reality. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
but yeah, you're the only person that stops yourself, you know.
So okay, so if you're the only person that stops you, then why are you blaming me? Or why are you blaming, your boss? Or why are you blaming your mother, your father, because you're not doing it? Okay,
I
Grit wants to come up. Go ahead. Go ahead, Crazy.
I blame nobody but myself.
Okay, all right,
Straight
all
up,
right. And DMAX says, I think some people just need a boost, encouragement. And Luke King says, I want a motorcycle, but wasn't allowed during my marriage, but now it's on. Okay. Um, but that's not an excuse, though, Lou. I don't think that's an excuse. I think that's just your wife not wanting you to have a motorcycle, but that's not an excuse. I guess what I'm saying is, what's the difference between an excuse that you're providing for yourself that is kind of lame, as opposed to someone else saying they don't want you to do something because they're afraid that you might hurt yourself or whatever. And D says a boss can stop a person from doing something. Okay, so Grit, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey, how's it, everyone?
Good, good, good.
Yeah, well, Solid. I had one. So for a long time, I wanted to not work for a boss anymore, work for myself, but just to, I don't know, scared to step out in the big world or maybe leave my comfort zone. So that was an excuse for me for a long time until I went out and did it, um, and it went very well for like 2 years or so. Which then I started my immigration process. So I think if you don't want to take that chance, that leap, you'll just always like never do anything. You'll just stay where you are. But I wanna do it.
Okay. All right. Lurak, thanks for popping in. Welcome, Crucible. All right. So, okay. So, Grit, then how much does a boss affect you from not doing something that you want to do? I
Uh,
mean, I mean, if a boss tried to block you from, you know, going for that next job for whatever reason, can they really do that or just make it difficult? But they can't really block you if you really want to move on or move out of the department, whatever.
yeah, I don't think they can block you. I think you're determined to step up or move up. I mean, I'm, I believe you can do it. Um, if it seems like it's too difficult and you just think like, oh well, it doesn't look possible for me, and you stick around where you are, you're using that as an excuse. But I believe if you put your mind to something, you can do it. Whatever it is.
Okay, all right. So, guys, I'm gonna go back to the whole COVID question that I had earlier. So, you know, when COVID happened, you know, 2020, 2021, you saw a lot of people who reinvented themselves. They started businesses that they've always wanted to start. And some people may be having a rough time, you know, getting that business off the ground. Um, would you advise those people to go back to a 9 to 5 if they're really trying and they're motivated to to get their business off the ground? I guess what I'm saying, can someone else plant a seed in someone else's mind that they would be better off, you know, that this particular venture has failed, is not doing anything, you should go back to doing this? Can we, I guess what I'm saying is, can we provide an excuse for someone else? Can we provide an excuse for someone else's for someone else to fail? Can we give someone an excuse for someone else to fail? I guess that is what I'm saying.
Wording it like that, um, not really giving them an excuse, maybe a reality check.
But is it?
You
But
know,
is but crazy? Is it really a reality check? Because, you know, once again, it's like you look at someone like um, Gordon um, Ramsay, who had restaurant after restaurant after restaurant. One failed, and he opened up another one. Another one failed, he opened up another one. He just kept trying and trying and trying, and then finally that one clicked. And then
right,
after that one became a success, than his other ones were.
right.
So would you? I mean, are people, I guess, too quick to give someone else a reality check, and then that gives someone else, well, you know what, this didn't work, and then they don't try it again, and then they do have this excuse for not doing well. The first one didn't work, so why should I do? Why should I do it again? So
I don't know. Maybe that. See, I don't view failures as failures. I view them as successful attempts.
yes, yes, and that is how I see it. You know, because, you know, like they say, you know, nothing beats a failure. What, you know, but a try or something. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to do it,
Yeah, and like Dee says, sometimes if a business is not working well, there's only so long that the capital lasts.
right, right. So
Yeah.
maybe you try to reinvent what you're trying to do, that you
Yeah.
still stick to the same idea. So maybe you don't go for that restaurant, maybe you just go for that, little table up, sitting on the side of the road, and then everyone sees how
Yeah.
great your hamburgers are, and then you get enough money where you can go to that next step, whatever. So sometimes to me it's just a
That's the
matter
way it
of,
happens.
okay, we got to refigure. Okay, and then
Recalibrate the plan attack.
yes. And DMAX says, disagree. I have seen it before. Bosses can block people. Okay, all right, but even if they block you, you don't think that there's any way to get around a boss that is consistently blocking you? I mean, can you do anything to finally achieve the goal that you want at that particular place? Let's see. Okay, capital last. Boss says, are there people and obstacles? Okay, let me read this. Are there people and obstacles in everyone's way? Yes, but if you want something, you will fight and make it happen regardless, or sit home and blame the obstacles and people. Okay, so Bob, that's what we were talking about earlier. Um, do you, if you have an excuse, do those excuses turn into blaming other people? That what makes life, are you saying, okay, that's what makes life interesting? Okay, so again, are procrastinators, okay, again, are people who consistently give an excuse for something, are they procrastinators? And as we talked about earlier, are procrastinators people who are unmotivated? We've all been procrastinators. We've all, waited to do something. But if you're a chronic procrastinator, are you just unmotivated, or are you lazy? I think it's pretty obvious that people blame others. Just take a look around TikTok. That's another show, Ma. That's another show. So it is. So is a chronic procrastinator, or I'm sorry, is a chronic person who gives an excuse, do they turn into a slash chronic procrastinator slash unmotivated person slash lazy person slash loser? And I'm just, these are adjectives that I have from people who were in the chat. So do all of those adjectives tie together if someone is someone who is just constantly making excuse after excuse after excuse? D says, is everything an excuse? Can't there be reasons for stuff that doesn't work? Yes. But did you at least try? I'm talking about D. I'm talking about people who don't even try. Okay, I'm not saying that, you tried to do something and it didn't work and you're like, oh, I'm just saying for people who don't even make the effort to even try. And Bob says, I'll be quiet now. You said you were going to behave, Bob. Oh, okay. And then Grit says yes. Okay. So has anyone changed their mind, or want to backtrack, or push back on, is lazy, unmotivated, and what was the other one? Uh, Lazy, unmotivated, and loser. are those all the same, or are they not, or not the same? Does anybody want to push back on that, or Juju's just laughing? It depends. Okay, all right. So a couple of you guys gave me your crazy gave me her definition of a loser, and someone, and Brina gave me her definition of someone being a loser and unmotivated. So can someone else give me a definition of someone who is a loser and unmotivated? Are those the same, or are they different? Okay, D says, excuse, if the business is not working, there's only so long. Okay, I'm sorry, my chat jump. So anybody? Grit, you want to give me is there a difference between loser? Let's see, money is always a consideration. Do you? Okay, Grit.
Solid, I believe they all tie together. I mean, if you're not motivated, you don't see an end goal, or I mean, I believe that's a bit lazy. If you can see your yard's all messy and the grass is long and stuff, and once you cut it, it's going to look all nice. You're just too lazy to do it. Then yeah, that all falls in the same category for me. I think you have that job and you want to move up the ladder, and your boss is blocking you, or just or stopping you from leaving that firm and joining a different firm, and climbing the ladder. Perseverance, and yeah, I don't know.
Okay, all right.
You just use that one. Yeah, and lazy.
Okay, so you have some good points, Grit, but I'm going to look at what D says. Is money always a consideration? So, D, are you saying money is a consideration not to give an excuse? That when you want to do something, that money is always there? I mean, what if it's as simple as, you were supposed to, you know, go pick go pick your friend up from work, or meet someone at the park or something, and I mean, some people just give excuses for everything. Is money a consideration for everything that we do, everything that we say that we're going to do? Is money a consideration?
That's solid. If I can say, like, money for me was a big consideration. I mean, I use that as an excuse for a long time. It can maybe slow the process down, but if you like start that restaurant and it fails and you've used all your funds, save up again, or it doesn't mean you can never try again. It will just slow the process down and start over, save up again, or pay that loan off, make another loan, and try something different. Um, I don't think it should block you from doing what you want to do. It just might slow the process down.
Okay, Grid, but you also, okay, and I know, you were just teasing when you said that, snow is your reason for not cutting your grass. But what if you are that person? What if you are that person on your block that doesn't cut their grass? And you have an excuse after an excuse after an excuse. Your grass is getting longer. Your neighbors are starting to complain. Cut your grass, cut your grass. You don't need money for that. So that's why I was asking D when he says money is always a consideration. You don't need money for everything if if you're just throwing out an excuse for not doing something. So
Yeah. If I was a neighbor with the short grass, I would just leave a little note in the post box like, hey, your yard's looking a little rough around the edges. Maybe you should cut it. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it doesn't cost money to mow the lawn or shovel the snow. Just and just so we clear, I don't have snow in my yard. It's in the mountains around me, so that's no excuse for me not cutting my grass. It's just frost in the mornings, but we've had rain probably on off for about a month already now. And our, our yard's like a mud fat, so that's the reason why the grass is cut.
okay, all right. And I understand that some people are not able. I'm just using the grass as an example, but I do understand that some people are
What if
are,
they
are,
don't
are
care?
elderly and they're not able to. And okay, crazy. Okay, but you say so. You're saying that if they don't care, is not the same thing as giving an excuse.
Yeah.
Okay.
What if they just
No,
don't
you're
care
right.
about
You're
their,
right. I mean, if you just don't care, then then that's not an excuse. You just don't care.
you're like, yeah, looked that way yesterday too. If you're so concerned about it, cut it
You're
yourself,
so
bud.
concerned, cut it yourself. No, you're right. If you don't like it, do it your damn self. Yeah, you're right. So okay, so let's talk about that. I know I'm getting a little bit off topic. So um what about that? If we are complaining about what someone else is not doing, then is are we justified to say if you don't like it, do it yourself?
Sometimes,
Okay. Do you think that'll
you know,
shut people up, or do you think they'll?
it sometimes motivate people.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. It motivate again. Sometimes it motivates my husband. Like, I'll tell him like do something, and I keep telling him to do something. Ask him, he says, "Yeah, I'll get to it. Oh yeah, I'll do that." And then I get tired of asking, so I just do it myself. And if it's a big project, a lot of times he'll see me doing it, and he'll be like, "What are you doing?" And I'll be like, "What does it look like I'm doing?" And then he'll jump in and finish it. So yeah, that works
No,
sometimes.
no, I totally understand that there are a lot of projects that I do because I would be waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting
Waiting
and
and
waiting.
waiting and waiting.
So you just like you said, do it your own damn self. So
I made the joke that if I wanted anything done, I'd have to call my husband's boss, Javier, and ask Javier to have Ross done. Then he would get done right away.
well, sometimes you have to result to things like that. But I totally get it. So guys, that's all I have. This was interesting, and it was really interesting when people were telling me their difference between loser, being unmotivated, and lazy. So it all seems like everyone kind of said that loser, unmotivated, and lazy were all the same thing. So does it really matter if you say to someone, you're lazy, as opposed to saying you're unmotivated, as opposed to saying you're a loser? Anybody? Would you rather be called a loser or unmotivated or lazy? Uh, so nagging works in
Oh,
that
if I'm lazy, I'll
circumstance.
straight up tell it. Say, yeah, I didn't do that because I'm just didn't want to do it. I'll total up lazy. I'll tell you. I'll front myself out.
Crazy says, "Oh, guess what finally got fixed? My moped, the Hooter scooter." And D Max says, "So nagging works in that circumstances." Welcome, Mike Tampa Bay. And Brian says, It would be terrible. It would be terrible to be called a lazy, unmotivated loser. You got that right, Brina. You have that right. Call me anything you want. Oh, it always depends upon the person. Oh boy. So I mean, but just before I close out and the show, again, from the people who did not answer the first time, do you think there's a difference between loser, unmotivated, and lazy? Do you think it depends upon the circumstance for someone to be lazy? And why does loser seem to be such a negative as opposed to unmotivated or lazy? Okay, Crazy Lady says, "Oh, okay. It would be okay. Let's see. My chat is jumping here.
No one wants to be called
No
a
one wants
loser
to be called a loser.
because hence the name, the meaning of the word. You know, I mean that. Yeah,
Okay, Boss says everyone should watch Rocky before leaving the house every day. And D says they're all negative. And Brina says, I think losers more extreme than unmotivated. I'm lazy often. I call that Sunday. Okay. So again, going back to the original question or the original topic, stop making an excuse. You're the only one stopping you. So are you saying that, or can we assume, or whatever, however you all want to put it? Welcome, Jana. So can we say that if you are someone who consistently makes an excuse for not doing something, that you're unmotivated, as opposed to being lazy, as opposed to being a loser? And what would put you in that loser category? What would finally put someone who gives an excuse after excuse after excuse, what would finally put them in that loser category? Because you're right, no one wants to be called a loser. And a loser is more extreme. Let's see. Grit says to Ba, winners ain't losers, and that ain't you. So, what would finally push someone who is making excuse after excuse after excuse, what would finally push them into the loser category? A deadbeat dad would be a loser. Also, someone who can't keep a job. Okay. So, someone who, okay, and Grit says another motivational quote, watch Any Given Sunday speech. I haven't seen that movie in so long. I don't remember what that speech was. Okay, so someone who can't keep a job, are they automatically a loser? Is there a reason why somebody can't keep a job? I mean, what if you had a disability or something, and you're not able to keep a job? I mean, you wouldn't consider them a loser. Yes, there's so many different jobs you have to be able to keep. Yo, okay, all right. You have to be able to keep one of them. And Crazy Lady says, sorry, I'm getting ready to go on a scooter ride. No problem, Crazy Lady. I appreciate you popping in. Thank you. That's different though. Yes, it is. But I had to throw that out there, Brina. All right, guys. So, you guys, thank you so much for popping in and joining me today. I do appreciate it. I appreciate the conversation and appreciate Frankie, Grid, and Crazy Lady for popping up on the panel, and everyone for coming in and liking the show, and everyone who joined. Thank you. I will not have a show tomorrow, but I will be back on Thursday. So no show tomorrow. So yesterday's topic has been moved to Thursday. But again, everyone, thank you so much for coming, and go where the wind takes you. Bye. Thank you, Brina. Thank you. Thursday show, I think, is going to be. It could be funny, depending upon, sometimes people take it a different way, or sometimes you want your show to go one direction, but people take another direction, or you end up taking it into another direction. But I think I'm going to be talking about jealousy, so I think that could be a fun show. I feel like I have to be productive now. Well, it's not Sunday, Brina, so yes, you have to be productive. The pivoting is one of my favorite parts of the show. I know, and I'm always pivoting on this show. And thank you to anyone on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I do appreciate it. Bye, everyone.